Hello, party people, and welcome once again. It's me, your party host, Loctavian, and today we're here with another Elder Scrolls tier ranking. I know I made some of you happy, but others of you quite upset when we ranked the Daedric Princes. You can find a link to that video down below. So now we are going to rank the 10 playable races you find in the Elder Scrolls Online series of games. Before we do that, please take a moment, if you could, to like this video, subscribe to the channel. I'm starting out on YouTube, so it would really help me out. Without further ado, let's get the tier ranking underway. All right, so these are our 10 races. Your Altmer, Argonian, Bosmer, Breton, Dunmer, Imperial, Khajiit, Nord, Orcs, and Redgar. So I'm just going to go in alphabetical order here. The Altmer, you may think they're strong. They come from Somerset. They've had a lot of control over the ages of Tamriel. But here's the thing. The Altmer are freaking jerks. They are. They've destabilized the regions, lost control multiple times, and as recently as the 5th era, in the times of Skyrim, were destabilizing, causing a war in the north simply to try to seize control once again of their little section of Tamriel. So despite their beauty, despite in the past the grace of Queen Arryn, at the end of the day, the Altmer are going to get a firm B rank because it cannot be denied what they've accomplished. But at the same time, they're assholes. Next, we have the Argonian. Now, the Argonians, true, they've been enslaved most of the eras of Tamriel. They're a strong people. They've overcome hardships. They've maintained their culture, and their connection to the sentient, almost alien hist trees gives them a lot of power. The only reason the Argonians don't find themselves in an S tier is, one, unfortunately, they still do find themselves, despite after uprisings, oftentimes most of the eras prior to the uprising in slavery, but also they haven't had the same impact over the eras as other races have. So for that, the Argonians are actually going to slide themselves into an A tier, just shy of S tier. Next, we have the Bosmer. And I know a lot of people love wood elves. They love their grace and their beauty. But here's two things you may not know about the Bosmer. One, they are cannibals. That's right. They only eat meat. They're a cannibalistic people. And they're not really nice to outsiders. But the other thing is, if you read through the lore you find in Elder Scrolls Online or Skyrim, there's a book where somebody was studying with them, studying their culture and reading their jokes, and their jokes are horrible. So the fact that they're cannibals, the fact that they, despite not liking the Altmer, still basically serve them half the time here and there throughout the eras, and the fact that really they just got sticks up their butts, the Bosmer are going to find themselves in a C tier. It's hard to rank them above the Altmer, all things considered. Next, we have the Bretons. Now, the Bretons are a mix of Myr and man. So they have magic. They come from the Myr. They also have man. They've perfected a lot of magical arts. Both good and bad things have been impacted throughout the eras with the Bretons. And they've really had a quite impactful behavior. That all said, it's hard to compare them to races that have faced hardship or have ruled and things like that. So the Bretons are going to sit here in B tier, I believe, with the Altmer. Next, the Dunmer. Now, while by the time of Skyrim, the meteor that Sheogorath threw at Vivec has struck, Vivec's power has failed, or maybe he simply gave up. The truth is, at the end of the day, it was the Dunmer who found out how to steal power from the heart of the world, the heart of Lorkhan. They managed to siphon Daedric power, become a tribunal, living gods on the planet. Sure, one was driven to madness and murdered the other. But at the end of the day, the sheer power of the Dunmer, everything that happened in the time of the Navarrene with Dagoth and all of that, the Dunmer have had a huge impact. In fact, it's very hard to argue that the Dunmer do not belong at an S tier. So while it was the Dwemer who did figure it out, it was the Dunmer who were able to capitalize on it after the disappearance of the Dwemer. Now, if the Dwemer were a playable race, we might stack this a bit different. But looking at the impact post Dwemer for most of the eras afterwards, the Dunmer, I think, sit firmly at an S rank. Next is the Imperials. Everything good about the Imperials, everything about the Emperor coming in, getting every single nation and race under one rulership, taking uninhabitable lands and making them fertile farmlands and all that. It's all about the Imperials. Well, the fact that that person was actually Talos and actually a Nord means really the Imperials are just riding the coattails of glory and basically consistently get assassinated and fail without outside help. So might be upset by this, but the Imperials also, you know, Ulfric Stormcloak is the rightful ruler of Skyrim. D tier for the Imperials. Hard D tier. Khajiit. Khajiit are amazing. Khajiit are graceful and beautiful and thieves. And I love Khajiit, and I'm very biased for the Khajiit. In fact, we learn a lot about the Khajiit and their impact during Elsewhere in Elder Scrolls Online. That said, their main role the Khajiit play in most of the eras and the games, other than in some lore and behind the scenes, is not super impactful. So while the beast races to me always will stack above the others, the Argonians have done more and had more an impactful role, whereas the Khajiit are simply awesome. I hate to do it. I'm going to put them above the Altmer, but I am B ranking the Khajiit. Nords. Talos was a Nord. The Dragonborn, well, the last Dragonborn wasn't a Nord, but the Nords have had a huge impact. That said, we do have to talk about how the Nords came from the north across the sea, eradicated almost all of the Snow Elves, driving them to the Dwemer, who enslaved them and ended up turning them into the Falmer. The Nords had a huge negative impact by basically genociding the rightful people of the place. I can't high S rank a completely genocidal group. I mean, I did the Dunmer, but so I do have to put the Nords here with the Argonians. They've had a huge impact. They're strong people. They also make consistent bad choices. So I'm going to put the Nords below the Argonians, but above the Khajiit. That leaves us with two more. We have the Orcs. Much like the Argonians, the Orcmer have been booted from their homes, considered savages, considered evil, despite the fact that they are one of the most honorable races. They've overcome more than even the Argonians in many ways. In fact, their leader was devoured by Boethia and came out Malakath, changing them to the Orcmer, and they still held to their honorable ways. They still venerate Malakath, who the other Daedra treat poorly. And for that, the Orcs, their impact has been great, but not as great as others. I will put the Orcs here with the Khajiit at a solid B tier. Finally, the Red Guards. There's a lot the Red Guards have done. Most of it is in lore. Hopefully we will see more in Elder Scrolls 6. Hopefully we'll see more in ESO to see their impact. However, the Red Guards did displace the Orcs many times. They're generally the winners of battles. So I'm going to have to stack the Red Guards above the Khajiit and the Orcmer here. So I know that's a lot of B tiers, but my final ranking for me, it has to be Dunmer at S tier. Argonians and Nords going to get that A tier. Red Guards get that high B, low A. Actually, yeah, high B, low A. Khajiit, Orc, Altmer. Bosmer at C tier. And Imperials, well, hell with the Imperials. So I will now catch up on chat, but thank you for joining me for my personal tier ranking. I would love to hear from you what your tier ranking is. I'm about to get scolded in chat. I'm pretty sure if you don't pick Brenton, you're wrong. Brenton quadruple S tier. Oh, I'm so sorry. I put him at a B tier. I love him, but I feel like it's Down with the false god, says Myers. I got the Tabasco scorpion sauce. That's actually pretty. Oh, that's awesome. Don't cry, wolf. That's true. Talos is kind of a blend of the Nord and the Breton named. That's true. All right. So I see the love of Bretons. I'm sure I'm overlooking things in Bretons. So Gorham Bat Guy, I deliberately put the Khajiit over the Altmer for that reason, because I love the Khajiit. And yeah, the Altmer would hate that. Oh, that's true. The Falmer did. That's true. There's a lot of genocide. There's a lot of genocide in the Elder Scrolls. That's true. They came over. There was 300 of them. They came over. The canyons came over. They got slaughtered. They came back and slaughtered. I still give them a solid A rank. I know the Dunmer are a lot of ways just as bad. I just feel like Skyrim is more recent, so we think a lot about what the Nords did, but it's really hard like to put anybody to me above the Dunmer. They're not even my favorite race. It's just to me the Dunmer are amazing because what they accomplished. The fact that I know they were standing on the backs of the Dwemer, but I haven't seen any other race do what the Dunmer have done.